The warning came not with whispers behind closed doors, but with a defiant message broadcast to the world. "We are waiting for them." Those 4 words, delivered by Iran's foreign minister during a tense international interview, have sent shockwaves across global capitals. As airstrikes intensify and the Middle East edges closer to a wider war, Tehran is signaling something extraordinary. If American troops enter Iranian soil, they will be met not with negotiation, but with a battlefield. And according to Iran's leadership, that battlefield could become a disaster for the United States. The crisis unfolding now is the result of one of the most dramatic escalations in modern Middle Eastern geopolitics. Over the past week, the region has witnessed a rapid spiral of violence. U.S. and Israeli forces have carried out massive strikes across Iran, targeting military installations, missile facilities, and key infrastructure. Iranian commanders have been killed, strategic sites destroyed, and the country's leadership shaken to its core. Yet instead of stepping back from the brink, Iran is doubling down. In a combative interview, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi made it clear: Tehran is not asking for a ceasefire. It is not seeking negotiations with Washington, and it is not intimidated by the possibility of American boots on the ground. "We are confident we can confront them," he said. "That would be a big disaster for them." The message is unmistakable. Iran believes it is prepared. To understand why Tehran is projecting such confidence, you have to look beyond the headlines and into the deeper strategy shaping this conflict. For decades, Iran has studied the United States' wars in the Middle East. From Iraq to Afghanistan, Iranian military planners watched closely as the world's most powerful military struggled with insurgencies, guerrilla tactics, and hostile terrain. Those lessons were not forgotten. Iran has spent years building what analysts call an asymmetric defense doctrine. Instead of matching the United States tank for tank or jet for jet, Tehran has invested heavily in missiles, drones, underground bunkers, and decentralized command networks. The goal is simple: make any invasion painfully costly. Iran's military is large, estimated at hundreds of thousands of active personnel, supported by powerful paramilitary forces such as the Revolutionary Guard. But the real strength lies in geography. Iran is not Iraq. The country is nearly 4 times larger than Iraq and dominated by mountains, deserts, and sprawling urban centers. Military experts often describe it as one of the most difficult countries in the world to invade. Any ground campaign would mean fighting through narrow mountain passes, densely populated cities, and a population that has historically rallied around national defense during foreign attacks. And Tehran knows it. In fact, Iranian officials are openly daring Washington to try. Another senior Iranian figure warned that if American troops enter the country, they could face capture or death on a massive scale. The rhetoric is not subtle. It is designed to send a message to both the Pentagon and the American public. A ground invasion would be a war unlike any the United States has fought in recent decades. Meanwhile, the conflict itself continues to expand. Iran has launched missiles and drone attacks targeting American military positions and regional allies. Strikes have reportedly reached locations across the Middle East, including areas hosting U.S. forces. Civilian air travel has been disrupted, oil markets shaken, and global shipping routes threatened. The Strait of Hormuz, one of the most critical energy choke points on Earth, has suddenly become a potential flashpoint. Roughly a fifth of the world's oil passes through this narrow corridor. If the conflict widens and the strait becomes unsafe, the economic consequences could ripple across the entire global economy, but the military stakes may be even higher. Inside Washington, officials have not ruled out the possibility of deploying ground forces if the conflict escalates further. The current campaign has focused primarily on air and naval power. Thousands of bombs dropped, warships engaged, and Iranian infrastructure targeted across multiple provinces. Yet war has a way of expanding beyond initial plans. History is filled with conflicts that began as limited operations and spiraled into something much larger. And Iran is betting on exactly that fear. By warning that American troops would face catastrophic losses, Tehran is attempting to shape the political debate in Washington before such a decision is even made. In essence, Iran is saying, "You may win the skies, but the ground will belong to us." Still, there is another twist in this rapidly unfolding story. Despite the fierce rhetoric and open threats, Iranian leaders themselves acknowledge a sobering truth. Even if Iran resists successfully, there may be no true winner in a war of this scale. The conflict has already caused heavy casualties and mass displacement across the region. Entire neighborhoods have been destroyed. Thousands of people have fled their homes. Markets are volatile. Diplomatic channels are strained. And behind closed doors, world leaders are scrambling to prevent something even worse: a full regional war involving multiple countries. Because if that happens, the consequences could extend far beyond the Middle East. Energy markets could crash or spike overnight. Shipping lanes could shut down. Global alliances could fracture. And military forces from multiple continents could be drawn into a conflict that spirals far beyond its original battlefield. For now, the world is watching a dangerous standoff unfold. On one side, a superpower with unmatched military technology. On the other, a regional power determined to prove that invading Iran would come at an unbearable cost. The bombs may fall from the sky. But the real question haunting military planners tonight is far more terrifying. What happens if the war moves to the ground? Because if that moment arrives, the warnings from Tehran suggest the next phase of this conflict could be far bloodier, far longer, and far more unpredictable than anyone is prepared for.